I'm the wholesome it girl, the essence aesthetic. And if you're new here, you're cool here. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, finances. So today I have our wonderful guest who is full of knowledge, and we are going to talk about all the things. But before we begin, I am going to do a quick disclaimer. This conversation is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be for professional advice. We will be providing resources throughout this video. So if you have any questions, we will do our best to point you to some resources. Also, please do not attempt to contact anyone in relations to this conversation, whether it's personal or business related. We are not giving you our consent, and we do not want you all to be trying to get in the middle of our business. And lastly, if you would like to utilize this video on the YouTube platform, I do require written permission in order for you to use it. That way I can, stay ahead of my own likeness as well as my guest. So without further ado, I am going to bring my guest Conrad onto the stage, and we are going to get the show started.
Hey everybody.
Hey, Conrad.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, you
Okay,
sound
go.
amazing. Can you hear me
Cool.
okay?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Awesome. So we are going to actually start today's show with a game. Okay.
Okay.
So as you know, this is Big Sister Chat, and we are going to basically take my favorite things and allow people that I look up to pour into me and to answer some very specific questions. So for you, I have curated this game specifically, and it is called High Society Living versus Standard Life Practices. Okay.
Okay.
So high society living versus standard life practices. And I'm going to give you a few different scenarios, and you're going to tell me if it's a high society living or if it's a standard life practice. Okay.
Okay.
Number one, I wanted to start my next 5 year journey off with a fresh start. So I redecorated and refurnished my apartment. Is that high society living or standard life practice?
That's a standard life practice.
You think so?
Yes. If you're gonna start
Okay.
something new, you need to live in something new. So you need to start over. You don't want the things from your past to impede on your future. You take a couple of things because it's always good to be reminded, but you need a fresh start. So I don't see why not. If you know that that's your goal, you got to live in it.
Okay, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, some people, they don't have the liquid funds or the discretionary income to say, you know what, my next 5 year journey is starting soon. I'm going to just get rid of everything and start over. So I didn't know if that was a standard life practice or if that was considered high society
But
living. So,
there's other ways to do it too. You don't just have to start fresh like that. If you don't have the funds, you can always put your current stuff on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, so you can get the funds to get your new stuff. So it's if you really want to do it, you'll find a way.
ooh, see, we like that. This is why you're here, Conrad. You have a lot of good things to offer. Okay, so second one. To offset seasonal depression, I take a tropical vacation between Q4 and Q1 every year. Is
Yes,
that high society living or a standard life practice?
that's a standard life practice.
Ooh. So you think tropical getaways are standard?
Yes. Friday,
Okay.
I'm going to Colombia for the month. So yeah,
LOL, I love Colombia. Okay.
yeah, me too.
Cartagena was amazing. 10 out of
Yeah,
10 recommend. 10 out of 10. Okay,
I'm gonna
so
be in Cali, so Cali, Colombia. So
period. Okay, so we're two for two. So I don't feel bad.
no, don't, not at all. Don't, not
Okay.
ever.
All right, here's the third one. To offset seasonal depression, I moved into another apartment with more windows. Is that high society living or a standard life practice?
I mean, I'm gonna say that's also a standard life practice because I actually did something similar just now. I just moved into an apartment because my house was giving me some problems. So I was like, forget this. Let me move into an apartment and then I'm gonna build me something that I like. So that's what I did.
Okay. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so that's standard for you. Okay,
Hmm.
listen, like again, like I said, some people don't have the luxury of moving like that. You know what I'm saying? Moving
Hmm.
a lot. First of all, there's a
Yeah.
security deposit involved, there's movers involved. So there's a lot of cost to moving. So if somebody's just like, you know what, my apartment is extremely dark, it's about to be autumn, I need some more windows. You feel like that's a standard life practice to just up
Yes.
and move.
Because it's a part of your mental health, though. Like all of these things go hand in hand. That's your mental health. If seasonal depression is a thing for you and it causes you to be stagnant, you can't become a wealthy or helpful individual when you feeling like that. So, in my opinion, you do whatever you need to do to make you happy because this is your only life to live.
Okay. I love that for us. Love that for
Yeah.
us. And I do see some of our viewers are saying that standard as well. So I'm very happy to hear that.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm normal.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why people keep accusing me of being fancy.
No, that's no, when you get to a certain age in life, comfortability is important. Things that make you happy, doing things that you want to do is is what the life is about. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. It's about how you feel about you.
Okay, amen. And the last one, I practice dining etiquette by taking myself on weekly solo dates at fancy restaurants. Is that high society living or a standard life practice?
It's a standard life practice too. I'm a tourist. I'm a foodie. That's something I do anyway.
Okay, period.
Yeah.
Okay. So solo dates on a weekly basis, definitely bi-monthly basis, just to immerse myself and fine dining so that I know how to, use my cutlery and
Hmm.
present as a woman. You feel like that's a standard life practice. That is not
Yeah.
considered like a high society
Right. Now, I will say
living.
a caveat to that. Now, I've chased stars. That's what I call them, chasing stars. I chase
Hmm.
Michelin star restaurants. When they open, I go to them.
Okay.
So I think that might be a little high society because everybody can't afford to go to a Michelin star restaurant every week or every 2 weeks or something like that. So, but I know I just like, but I'm a foodie, so that's what I like to do. But it's important to take yourself self out anyway. People get so stuck in wanting to be a part of the group that they don't know themselves. Go out by yourself. Do you by yourself. Yeah.
Okay, solo travel, solo dates, refine yourself, ladies, gentlemen. Even if you want to work on communication with women, you can also go on a solo date. There, nobody in that
Mm,
restaurant knows who you are. You can work
exactly.
on your refinement on your own time. But some people may say that is high society living. So, as someone said in the chat, treat yourself. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you. We
That was
5 for
fun.
5. So,
Okay,
yay! And
well.
again,
Yeah.
again, this was curated towards you. Like I sat down and I said, what kind of game could I play with Conrad where I feel like she can provide me some solid advice, and also she can let me know um if I'm a little fancy. And clearly I'm not. So
No, you just like the rest of us. But I'm 40. I'm 40 plus too. So
listen, you got a little. Oh, it's restaurant week in New York City. The best time to try out fancy restaurants. Yes, 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 yes. Another
mhm.
resource that will be providing restaurant week. You can get a three-course meal, sometimes four, depending on the restaurant, for a set price. Usually it's about $45, $55.
Oh, that's a
Where
good
I am,
deal.
they usually do it twice a year.
Hmm.
Twice a year. So if you've been eyeing a nice restaurant, more than likely they may be participating in restaurant week. And that is your time to go out and try the nicer things in life. I love a good hack. I love a good savings. Okay. So yes, restaurant week. So let's start the actual show now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with the quote. Okay.
Hmm.
You once said, even though I'm masculine presenting, when men are around, I don't pump my own gas. What advice do you have as a big sister for women who have trouble receiving and basically allowing themselves to be softer women?
I think that's a really difficult question because I think a lot of men nowadays are in this place where they're like competing
Hmm.
to be, in their soft space too. And I mean, I get that in some sense, and it doesn't. And then you worry about men like throwing it up in your face when they do something that's considered soft to you. So I can see how it's hard to let yourself be soft around men because fear of a lot of things. And I can only, from my experience, the men that are around me, they're real alpha male men, and they wouldn't allow me to do it anyway. It's not something that I can really argue with them about. They just gonna take control of that anyway. And I trust them to do that. So I guess be more trusting in the people around you, because I don't think you can be vulnerable with someone if you don't trust them. So I think that would be the the main thing is just, if you're going to want to be soft around somebody, y'all have that conversation and open up to be trustworthy to them, and it will come easy. It'll be natural because you feel safe with them.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times women don't do things or can't get in their soft space because they don't feel safe with men.
That is a great point. I did not expect for you to respond with trust. So I want to touch on something you just mentioned. Where does communication come into that scenario? Because it's easy to feel like, okay, my dad or my grandpa or my uncle or my cousin, these are men that I'm used to. These are men that
Hmm.
that have nurtured me. But when you're a young lady who, let's say, grew up in a predominantly female based family, or who have seen your mom be a single mother and she's very much so the breadwinner and doing all the things, what advice do you have as a big sister for then allowing yourself to receive as a woman?
I have a lot of men friends that are platonic in relationships, so I do feel comfortable around cisgender heterosexual men. So that's not a problem with me at all. Um, but I mean, you can feel when someone is genuine, and so you have to trust your instincts and trust yourself. Um, and not being completely vulnerable with them, but like, hey, these are my boundaries and I expect you to respect them. And that builds trust within itself there. So especially when it comes to a man. When a man respects your boundaries and you say, hey, I'm not interested in that type of conversation or this, that, and they don't do it and they don't slip up because they remember, that that creates trust right there.
Conrad, I love that. Legitimately. So just to recap, your response would be trust. And if trust is not your first inclination with men, or even if you have not been in a space where you can be a soft woman or your most, feminine self with communication, you would say start leading with boundaries. And then if you feel like those boundaries are not being respected, to put yourself first and either remove yourself from that or find a way to make that known to the person, which will help you rest in that space, would you say?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love it. Literally, yes. Literally, yes. I have to agree because I have been through some things,
Hmm.
and I realized that pouring into yourself and figuring out those nuances really do help you become a more refined woman. So if you are, even if you are Conrad's peer, I'm definitely a little bit younger than her, which is why this is called Big Sister Chat. You can still find ways to implement these jewels into your life for
Right.
sure.
Hmm.
For sure. Well, I love that. I love that. I definitely wanted to ask you about that because that was one of my favorite Conrad quotes.
Yeah.
I was like, yes,
Yeah.
because that is, I am such a go getter. I'm such a go getter. I am go, 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 go. And I'm noticing now that I'm noticing more men are wanting to do things for me, whether it's holding the door open or carrying something
Hmm.
or buying me something. But if I don't work on myself, I'm not going to know how to navigate those things because it's not really my natural inclination. You know what I mean? So
Right,
I have been
because
in that.
so you just don't let people buy stuff, or you just be like, no, I don't need it, or I got it myself, or you know what I mean, or you just like freeze up, you don't know what to do.
I've trained myself to just say yes, please, thank you, I appreciate that. That
Hmm.
was kind. That was sweet. Because sometimes we as women, we don't know how to receive. We just don't. We
Hmm.
just don't know how to receive. We don't realize that we're not entitled to it, but it's a perk.
Right.
Sometimes it's literally a perk to be a woman.
It's part of
Yes.
dating. Yeah, it's part of dating. Even me dating women. I mean, I know it's a perk that I do things for them, but it's also a perk that they do things for me too.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's the perk of dating, in general, like reciprocity. Like you're getting to know someone and you're trying to impress someone and impress upon someone. So it's simple, and you should allow that. How do you expect to think you're going to build a life with someone and you don't know how to give or receive?
You'd be surprised, Conrad. That's why we're here today.
Yeah.
We're here today. So now I want to move into something that we have in common. We are both North Carolina graduates.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rep my school. I am a graduate of the historic Johnson Crane Smith University. I am so very proud of my school. We're the only HBCU in the city. And the reason we're
Hmm.
historic is because we did participate in the very first African American football game against two black universities. So that's what makes us historic. We are definitely a part of history. So why don't you tell the people where you graduated from?
The illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Yes. For some, it's known as
Okay.
A&T, North Carolina A&T. We are the first black HBCU in North Carolina, and we're the largest right now. And I think we're the largest, period. I think we just hit the largest HBCU overall. And,
Wow.
yeah, and this is our 100th GHO, 100 Greatest Homecoming on Earth this year in October. All y'all come out. Yes, we're expecting close to 200,000 or 300,000 in the city to come and visit. So come and visit. We're getting ready for that. But no, I mean I love my school, and we are the home of the NCANT 4, which is the first sit-in in the civil rights movement. All four of them have passed away, but yeah, we are the home of the civil rights movement, home of SNCC, which is the Southern Leadership Conference. I can't think of what SNCC is right now. But I was a political science major, so one of my professors, Dr. Barnes, he was the reason why you have there's the bullet holes at North Carolina where they shot one of the students. He's the reason they started that riot.
Mm.
So I mean, my school has got a lot of history, so I'm very, very, very proud of it.
Yes. When I tell you her alma mater is literally known as the greatest homecoming on earth, that is what GHO stands for, the
That's
greatest homecoming on earth.
hmm.
And I have already been seeing the streets are in an uproar because hotels are charging almost $1,000 per night
Yeah.
to stay in the city of Greensboro, which is really a rural town. Would you say like a college
Yeah,
town?
it's
How would
not
you
it's
describe
a college town. I mean, because we have
it?
a couple colleges here. There's A&T, there's Bennett. Bennett is an all girls black, historically black college, which is the other one outside of Spelman. So Bennett's here, A&T, UNC Greensboro, Guilford College, and we have Greensboro College, all of those here. So it's really a college town. So, but we are the college.
Y'all are the. I'm gonna give it to
We
y'all. Y'all
are the
are
college.
the college. You cannot tell an Aggie nothing, child. You can't
No.
tell anything. Don't try it. I have family members who graduated from there. I have people who. There's been times where our homecoming was the same day and it was a ghost town because people was just at A&T.
Yeah.
But I will say y'all are not too big for y'all britches. Y'all were at the HBCU band
Mm-hmm.
um, battle of the bands this year, which I really did appreciate. Y'all definitely came and
I was
showed
in a
out.
band.
You were in. We're gonna talk. Hold on.
Freight train. Freight
Hold
train.
on. Hold on. We're gonna get there, Conrad, because I got some questions for you. Okay. I'm so glad you said that. So my next question is: as a big sister, what advice would you give to someone someone thinking about joining a fraternity sorority,
Um,
what advice would you give for preparation?
I have my own story for that, but just do your research. Do your research. Make sure that sorority or fraternity allows aligns with you and your values. And I mean that's the big thing about that. I mean the networking is amazing, so it is worth it if you do it. Big difference between doing the grad chapter versus undergrad. It's more of an experience undergrad, I would say. So just make sure you research you know these these organizations and make sure they align with you. And even if it's certain people that you really are into, might follow them because you don't know how you'll probably connect with them in some way because of the affiliation.
Wow. Yeah, when you said you were in the band, and some people don't even know, like, you may not, if you are interested in a sorority, you will probably not start that journey in your like undergrad until your upperclassmen
Yeah,
years.
to your junior year, more than likely, you can start thinking and expressing interest in your sophomore year, but your junior senior year is going to be the first time that you're really gonna probably probate. So
Exactly. But what most people don't know, which I've seen firsthand, is the band. If you join that band and you a freshman, they gonna get you together.
it's already
Oh yeah.
ready. I'm gonna tell
Oh
you,
yeah.
my freshman year, I would play trombone on, they call it freight train. So it's a fraternity sorority within itself. And it was
Mm-hmm.
5 a.m. in the morning. It was 90 degrees here.
Mm-hmm.
And our band director said, y'all can leave, go ahead and, bear and rest, take a drink. They made us run around the track for another 2 hours because we were freight train. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm calling my mom. I had to stand on the wall with my arms out for
Mm-hmm.
hours.
Yep.
And it was like, you'll never tell me no again. Absolutely, I won't.
Look,
You're
I
right, I
don't mean to
won't.
laugh at your pain. I don't
Yeah.
mean to, I don't mean to laugh at your pain, Conrad, but the way people do not know that joining the band is the first taste you're gonna get of that lifestyle if you are selected.
Yeah. I've had to stand at a 90 for 2 or 3 hours, which is
Mm,
crazy.
mm,
Which
mm,
is like, we the high step, the 90 foot point. I can
Ooh,
do it now with ease to this day. It's muscle memory.
that's 2 to 3 hours.
And they would walk around, switch, and that's when you switch. And it's like the military,
Ooh,
really.
it is. Where you
Hmm.
think they get that from? That's my
Yeah,
opinion. They
yeah,
definitely get that from the military.
yeah. It was crazy. But fun times were had, absolutely.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Once you get through
Band
the
camp,
process.
yeah. Once you get through band camp, first 2 or 3 games, you good.
All right now, shout out to Golden Delight.
Oh
Love
yeah,
y'all.
yeah. Those girls are bad, right? They are great.
They are very talented. So we're gonna move on to the next section, which is gonna be all about financial literacy.
All right.
Conrad, as beautiful and glowing as she is definitely a businesswoman. But I can't even explain how much success you have just being able to manage all that you manage. So I'm gonna allow you to share what you like to share, and then we'll
Okay.
build upon that. But how,
I didn't hear you.
oh, what
It broke
advice
up.
do you have? I said I'm gonna allow you to share what you'd like to share and then build upon that.
Okay.
But what advice do you have as a big sister for somebody who is hyper responsible, somebody who is always on top of their schedule, and they deal with burnout?
Well, I'm also autistic and ADHD, so I absolutely believe in having help. So you can get a virtual assistant. I have an assistant. My assistant, she works with me 2 or 3 times a week, which is important because I can't remember everything. I can't keep up with everything. I am only human, and I do suffer from burnout. But being semi organized will be helpful. Just being able to keep up with the things that you have to do. but the assistant is the main thing for me. For me, that she's the one who helps with everything, emails, all that kind of stuff. It allows me the time to enjoy my hobbies, to enjoy life, because I think I would be completely overwhelmed with some of the things I have to do. Because my grandmother's elderly, I got some other things going on. I have a lot of things going on, and I have to take care of those people. So, having an assistant is number one. Being organized is number two, and outsourcing things is okay. You can't do everything.
Also,
Outsourcing things, yes, it's fine. If you can't get your cousin to do whatever, don't rely on your cousin. Hire a professional. It's okay. Hire a professional. I know it might seem like it's gonna cost, but you pay for convenience sometimes. And if you want something done right and done right the first time, just go ahead and hire the professional. Because I've been in the situation where I have family members, they do the work and they don't do a bad job at it, but sometimes because you're family, they don't do it the way that you should be. So that is a great thing. It's okay to hire out, and it's great to network, because you don't know, you might do this well, but you're in this group of people and they might do that well. And now that's a professional person that you have in your book that can help you when you need help, and vice versa. And they can teach you things, and having like the community is important.
I love that. I love that. And honestly, I feel like for somebody where I am in life, like, I have a career, but I don't have any entrepreneurial ventures at this time.
Mhm.
But to hear you say outsourcing to manage is amazing. And actually, one of my favorite pieces of advice that you gave is that you do utilize like a management company
Mhm.
for some of your entrepreneurial ventures. Would you like to share anything about that, and what led you to thinking like, I probably should let somebody else handle this because
Well,
it's too much for.
Well, sometimes when you are doing things like that, because I have properties and houses, and I have an apartment building, but those things, I am very caring and understanding, almost to the fact that I'm naive. So my big heart will allow me to do things that are not fiscally responsible or doesn't make sense. So to circumvent that, I got someone who is a professional. I got a management company, and they do that. Now I don't have to look at random applications and say, hey, this person's a good person, this person's a good person, or you tell me your sob story, and I'm like, oh my God, I give you a chance, and then you take my AC unit, which happened before, uh, and leave a dog in my house because you didn't pay your rent for 6 months. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. That is very stressful. And now I have people who take care of it. And yes, I do. I got to give them their 15%. That's fine for me. It's to me, it's worth the 15% is worth the mental anguish that I was going through. Um, Thinking about, oh, are they gonna pay the rent this month? Or are they gonna do this? No, I don't have to do that. If they don't, they take care of everything. They take care of the court date. They take care of anything. Every now and then I might have to step in and be like, okay, well, I'll show up. But they take care of all of that. So I don't have to worry about that. And like I said, outsourcing, is probably why, I don't have so many gray hair. I mean, I got four.
You better clock that T. You better clock that T. I don't play about stress at
Yeah, I
all.
don't I don't I don't do stress. Yeah.
I don't play about stress. I don't play about stress. Ladies, if you are an entrepreneur, gentlemen as well, if you're an entrepreneur, um, so Conrad is specifically dealing with property management, but if anything, like whether you run like a small business, could be a car wash, laundromat, whatever. If you have the resources to get some help, baby, because we don't need to be running ourselves thin, trying to do everything on our own. I am learning that the hard way. I had to sit myself down. I've actually had to put some provisions in place at work, which will
Mm,
allow me to literally reset my nervous system because what I'm doing professionally is very taxing and it
mm-hmm.
requires a lot of my emotional and social battery. And I can't give that to y'all because when I get off of work, I'm not okay. So I do recommend if you do not already have a therapist, if you're dealing with
Yeah.
burnout, please get you a therapist. Therapy is not exactly what I thought it would be. My therapist helped me specifically craft a self-care routine. I did not know how to relax at
That's
all.
true. I mean, I have a therapist. I actually have two therapists. I actually have a parenting therapist, and then I have a regular therapist. So I think therapy is really, really important because, and I know a lot of people think, oh, is something wrong with me if I'm going to therapy? No, therapy just helps you navigate certain things. I mean, I think that's why I navigate the YouTube space the way that I navigate it,
Mm,
because I just do not let things like really get to me. If it doesn't affect me directly, it's not much you can do to bother me. Really, I really don't care. Because if it doesn't like if it doesn't directly affect directly, that's it. If it, I mean, because words are just words, and so I've realized that this space is supposed to be fun and educational, and sometimes it can be, and sometimes it can be taxing. And if it's taxing, just move on.
just move on. Amen. Amen. And I do see your question. What advice do you have as a big sister for someone who's considering a life coach? Do you have any experience with that, or do you know anything about that?
Actually, I have a friend who's a life coach. I mean, I'm gonna
Okay.
always say therapy over life coaching any day. Because a lot of times, and I think for Black women specifically, a lot of our issues are derived from trauma of some sort, and a life coach is not equipped to deal with that. They're equipped for your everyday stuff. And I mean, I guess if that doesn't apply to you, then you could go with the life coach way. But a lot of times, when you get to the derivative of something, it is from your past or some type of trauma. So
Yeah.
a life coach is not going to do that. So with those same resources, just get you a therapist. If you work at a company, you can use your EAP. Most therapists, um,
Benefit.
both. One of my partners is a therapist, so not shameless plug to her.
Conrad.
But but no, she is a therapist. But she does like interns. Her interns get free hours, stuff like
Mhm.
that. So you can get therapy easy if you really want it. So
I agree. Even if you're on Medicaid,
yes, you can really get it. And I think it's really helpful and it's worth it. Because
yes, it is.
just a person to talk about your things is important. And like I said, I also have a parenting therapist because I have a little boy. And that's been important. He goes to therapy, and then I have a session with his therapy, and we just have a separate based off of he can't really he 4, but still he has trauma based things. So we go through those things, just helping me become a better person. Period. Some things because I grew up 30 years ago. My mom was chasing me around with a belt. That is not healthy. So you sometimes don't want to do things the way that you saw things done. You're emotionally intelligent enough to know that there's a different and better way, and you need some help navigating that. And they do help that.
I love that. And I'm actually glad you mentioned that, specifically the parental therapy, because I want to actually segue into another Conrad quote that I have for you. So during one of your networking conversation, as I would like to call it, you
Hmm.
mentioned that you would go around, but I believe it was your granddad,
Hmm.
to look at different properties that were up for foreclosure as a way to basically pour back into your family's wealth. What advice do you have as a member of the family that is responsible enough to pick up that type of legacy, because now that's like a large part of
Hmm.
your entrepreneurial venture. So what advice do you have for the young sister or the oldest sister or the middle child
Hmm.
in the family who sees that mommy has a family business and I want to keep that going?
Take your kids with you. Take your
Mm,
kids to do your work. Like when it's your business, get your kids involved. Because I'm gonna say that's what did it for me. My granddaddy, when I was a kid, he would take me everywhere. Like, and that's how I know. So then, as you get older, it's like you have this knowledge about it because you're immersed in it. So take your kids with you. Also, set up things in a way so when it is time for you to leave those things for your children, that it's already mapped out. All they got to do is when it happens, and you want to transition to them to it before you pass away. Really, that should be your goal because you want to retire at some point. No one should live forever. I mean, work forever. So you want to be able to have them transition to that, but you need to set these things up in a way that it can continue, like trust. So a trust is a really big part of that. I My grandfather didn't have his stuff in a trust. We did the will, right, which is public, but that's different. But when you're doing a trust, it's much more private. You don't have to advertise your stuff to the rest of the family. Everybody doesn't have to know the trusting. And when people ask for things, you can honestly say you need to check out, the trustee, because I don't have any control over it. So those hard decisions about people needing stuff, other people in your family needing things, that weight doesn't fall on you. You can push that over to somebody else and they can say, hey, the books allow us to do it or the books don't allow us to do it. Or I give an allotment for this amount. And if they go out of, if we lend all the data out, then we ain't got no more till the next quarter. So y'all do what y'all want to with that. And it it absolves me being the bad person, the yes or the no, and a whole bunch of stuff.
Ooh, so you have a buffer.
I had to.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I had
See,
to.
yeah, and that's why financial literacy is so important because just from my personal life, right? My dad is in line for an inheritance
Mm,
amongst other people, and I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and I was explaining to her how my dad is wanting to do his own appraisals, and he's wanting to get his own figures and numbers. And I was just saying, well, Dad, this would have been nice if you would have introduced those concerns a little earlier on because we're getting a little bit further down the process.
hmm
So I had somebody sitting next to me who was basically the legal, I guess she was the guardian of an estate where
hmm
there were legal heirs, but she had all the responsibility on her
hmm
shoulders to divvy out everything.
hmm
And she basically stopped my friend and I and said, listen, like somebody is literally doing this to me right now. Like they want to contest every single thing. So if there are any women out there, gentlemen as well, that are in that position to where they are the one who is responsible for that type of stuff, for administering the estate and things of that nature, what advice do you have for dealing with that when it comes to like inter family conflicts?
Well, hey, my mom took me to court, so
Dang.
I mean, and I mean, rightfully so. That I wasn't a dick to her because my grandfather had children, and I'm his grandchild. So of course they're going to contest it, and that was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. It's just in that particular situation, it's kind of touchy too.
Yeah.
He had already put me on game though, so he already knew what it was going to be. He didn't know he was going to pass, but he knew that it was going to be a mess. But I wish he would have did things different. Let me think. Stay steadfast, because a lot of people gonna hate you and they're gonna talk a lot of junk. And at the end of the day, make sure you have a good lawyer, somebody who talks to you and explains the process to you, and be honest about, hey, I don't want to do this or that, or I don't want this or that to happen, and they respect that. They're not doing things for just a check, but having a good lawyer, because I think that's what did it. I had my grandfather's lawyer, so we had already had the conversation and the discussion. So I was blessed in that. So I think a lot of this stuff, um, I was set up for success. To be honest, is what it was.
Okay, so being proactive.
hmm
Being proactive. Okay.
That
And
is
I'm
the answer.
actually
Yes.
being proactive. Yeah, and you know what I'm finding? One piece of advice that I'm personally pulling in is do not be afraid of utilizing resources, whatever they may be.
Right.
Even if it costs money. Because I'm cheap. Okay,
I
now
am
here's a,
too. I'm very
I'm
cheap.
frugal. I'm frugal.
I'm frugal. Um, I don't want to give away my stuff. I I like to spend my money on me.
Safe.
Right. So yeah. So I get that. Yes, I'm very frugal. So, but outsourcing will continue your wealth because it's done right the first time. It's like I call it my ADHD tax,
Hmm.
because if I don't outsource, I'm possibly getting into missing deadlines, getting fines, all of this kind of stuff. Having help stops those things because I'm going to pay for it anyway because I'm not on my stuff all the time. So no, outsourcing is the way to go. And if you don't know, am I going to really research it to the fullest of its capability to do it? Probably not. I'm going to miss something. Why not get somebody who is a professional to do it, to tell you how to do it right the first time? Because after all those mistakes, you end up paying for it. Like, because tried to do stuff myself and I didn't do it good. So, I mean, I did it okay, but if I got help the first time, I would have saved a lot of money.
You know what? I really like that, and I'm gonna come back to this area of financial wellness, but I do want to touch on um us being women. I don't know what your experience is. I can only speak to mine.
Mhm.
I find that when you're responsible, when you are independent, and
Mhm.
then you have older men in your life, they tend to feel a little bit inadequate, or they feel like they gotta push advice onto you, even if you're doing everything that you could be doing, whether it's your uncle or your grandpa or your dad. What advice do you have as a big sister for someone who is responsible, doing what they have to do, but they're dealing with men who feel like they should still be providing them with information that they really don't need? Like, how do you navigate like that type of,
Ignore
I
them.
don't know what that is. I don't
Ignore
know. Is that
them. That's the only thing that you can do. Like, you know what? Okay, whatever. Because and continue to do you. You can't. That's that masculinity. I don't understand. It's really like, just because I'm a woman, you don't feel like that I'm not capable. Absolutely not. So I'm just gonna ignore you. Say whatever you want to, because you can't argue. When you arguing with someone, you don't know who the fool is. So just let them have their space. Let them do it. And you move on and continue doing what you're supposed to do. But I've had that a lot. I mean, I think that's just a thing. When men feel like, they're not over something, they do sometimes like try to overstep their boundaries when it comes to that. And then, I mean, first you could start out being polite. Hey, I don't actually need your advice on this. I'm not asking for it. And I do preface a lot of conversations like that. I'm talking to you about this because I need to talk to you about it, but I'm not talking to you for your input. I'm just talking to you just so I can communicate what's going on, but I'm not asking or seeking your advice or input on this. And of course, they're going to try to. And I just say, well, remember, we started this conversation. I'm not looking for your input or your advice.
okay? So clear and
Concise communication.
concise.
It doesn't always work, but you did your due diligence.
Okay. And you know what? That's something I'm working on, because at my big age, honestly, 30 years old, I do hold myself to the same standard as any functioning adult in society. Like, I do. And I feel like having the wherewithal to have conversations when you're upset and angry is important. And now I do have another Conrad quote that was, I don't operate in I operate in facts, not in interpretations. So how do you navigate conversations with ignorant people? Like, what do you do when someone is, and I'm gonna just keep it 100. It is toxic masculinity, because I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
men, they will try to rage bait you when they feel like they're intimidated by your intelligence or what have you.
Mhm.
So, based on that quote, I operate in facts and not interpretation. What advice do you have as a big sister for a woman navigating, like, communicating with toxic men,
I mean, you
especially if they're intimidated?
being patient is number one. And then also, Just knowing when to just bow out, because sometimes you're just not going to get people to understand, and it's okay. Especially if the man is toxic and he's a toxic masculine man, you're really probably not going to get anywhere. You can try. And if you have spectators in your conversation, it is important to try to hit on the important things so they know that you're not obtuse to the situation, but also like, hey, but I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. You are, you're committed to misunderstanding, and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So basically, use your feminine essence to
Hmm.
finesse your way out of, because I don't want to ever show my behind, but I
Hmm.
find that when it comes to men in specific, because I am an educated woman, and I'm not boastful at all, but some people are just simply
You should
intimidated
be.
by their ability to communicate. But I'm not. It's not my natural inclination. Like, I'm just not. I feel like I would age 1,000 times quicker if I was boastful, because it's just against my natural essence. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
But I find with men, they are dominant beings, and it is toxic when they utilize that natural ability to dominate us
Hmm.
as a way to make us feel uncomfortable. And that's something that I'm navigating as well. So I wanted to talk about that, because men can get real nasty. They can get real
Hmm.
nasty when they are intimidated by a strong, educated woman. I don't get it.
And they can, and but they can get nasty. But the nastier they get, the more you know that they are ignorant. And it's like, that's not even the person I really want to keep dealing with anyway. But I mean, stand your ground, but then also know when to bow out. You know what I mean? Be honest and just be like, hey, this is just what it is. And if you don't like it, I understand, but it doesn't mean it's going to change. And, you know, they can get nasty. And that just because you're getting nasty and the louder and nasty you are doesn't mean that you're right. And I just keep saying, hey, but that's not the truth. And I'm operating in the truth. And so if you can't do that, then maybe this conversation is not going anywhere. So let's just move on.
Mm, mm. I love that. And when I curated this conversation for the two of us, I did come up with the theme, um friendship, finances, and toxic masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like, just observing you, I feel like you navigate those spaces amazingly.
Thank
I
you.
mean, not a hesitation at all with anything that you say when you're facing any of those subject matters. And I
Mhm.
want people to understand that it should be your goal to be a clear and effective communicator.
Yeah.
I just feel like that should, you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to
Yeah.
have any professional backgrounds or accolades. You can be a literal normal person and still master the art of effective and clear communication. So I'm gonna switch gears back to some of the things that you mentioned about your family conflicts, right? Um,
Hmm.
it sounds to me like you're very successful, in many ways, but what advice do you have as a big sister for being the affluent family member and navigating that? Like, how do you decline helping people, or how do you walk yourself off the ledge from always giving to people when they ask you for stuff? Is that something that you've ever dealt with?
Yeah, that's why I set up a trust and I have an amount, like I said, quarterly that I can give out.
Ooh, wait a
If
minute.
I hit that, yeah,
Y'all, wait, can we please give Conrad a round of applause for this level of Black excellence?
yeah. And that's the only way that I can do that. I look, don't ask me. You know who to call, and if they got it, they got it. If they don't, they don't. And I use that for tax write off
Mm,
too, because it is a tax write off too, because it's charity. So I mean, after that, it's over.
wow. Straight like that.
Straight like that. After that, it's over. And these are the things. And I mean, and I get it. I get it. I do owe, because this is not just my wealth; it's my family's wealth, right? I'm just managing it. I'm helping managing it, right? Because that's their grandfather. That's our grandfather. That's their uncle. Whatever. I get it. This is our family stuff. Our family stuff makes money. And I know you guys feel like you're entitled to some of the money. And in essence, you are. But obviously, you guys are not great with money. So here's the money that y'all can get this quarter. Ask the lawyer. If it's there, he'll give it to you. If not, you might need to catch your cousins before the next quarter because it's going to be the same amount the next quarter.
Oh my God, y'all. This level of organization is literally like my jam.
I mean, that
This is why
literally,
I do this.
that's the only thing that you can do. No, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing in my pockets. You need to ask them people over there. They're the people who got it. The money goes there.
And I like this comment from Nadi. She says, I always say no first. I could always change my mind later. So on a smaller scale, when
Hmm.
we're not dealing with like assets or things of that nature, when it comes to
Hmm.
like people know like, oh, you have a good job. Like, can I get $20?
Uh-huh.
Oh, $10? Can I get $15? What advice do you have as a big sister for someone who is successful and their family knows about it? If they don't have access to a trust or an attorney,
Hmm.
what would you recommend for declining those requests?
I mean, just the answer, like that person said, no is always the first answer. And if I change my mind, I'll do it later because sometimes people will take advantage of the fact that you give and you give freely. And I mean, also, it doesn't help that, I mean, it does help that I'm stingy. So mm, I don't want to give it, I want to use my own money. I want to see the fruits of my labor.
Mm,
So it's like, and I mean, if you really need it, I mean, it's not like I don't help friends either, but you have to also see where people's intentions are because you can tell a user from a mile away. And
yeah.
if we was in line and I forgot my wallet and you gonna buy me a fry, I'm gonna always remember that. Oh, she easily got my drink. And, I went back and gave her the money, but the fact that it wasn't a thing, it wasn't I'm gonna more than likely give freely to this person versus the person every time we come around, you got your calculator out calculating how much, you know what I mean? So it's just that's the thing for me. It's like this is gonna all depend on the person. Because I'm a big advocate of reciprocity. I gotta feel like it's gotta be an even exchange. I can't be giving more than you giving me type thing. And I mean, that is just me though. And you can ask anybody, that's just how I am. Like, I'm stingy as hell, so I know that.
I love that. Oh my God. Yes to literally everything you just said. And when I tell you I am soaking this up like a sponge, I don't have photographic memory by any means, but I do have a good retention rate with information.
Hmm.
So I'm remembering all this, and trust me, if I was in the chat, I would be writing this down. I did see a few people say that, and some people do have some questions about the financial literacy part, which I'm gonna shift to the last portion of our conversation. But I want to segue into friendships. I'm gonna segue into friendships. Y'all lean in with me, okay? Because I'm about to spill some tea. I am in a friend group where not everybody gets along. Shocker.
Hmm.
Shocker. I'm in a friend group where not everybody get along. Friend A is like, please don't invite friend B. Friend B is like, friend C don't like me. I'm like to friend B, I don't really think that because I've seen y'all interact with each other. I think she's okay.
Hmm.
And then I got friend D that's telling me the tea about all the other people. So, what advice do you have as a big sister for someone who is navigating a friend group where everyone is not getting along?
Hmm.
You are the mutual friend, and things are starting to get a little bit tricky.
Well, I was just told today that obviously you can't always be the neutral person. But I mean, in my opinions, in my real life, like I've had a friend group like that before, crazy, and we
Girl,
all
I'm
blew
going
up
through
in
it.
like Miami. Yeah, we all blew up in like Miami. It was crazy.
Wow,
Uh,
that is so cliche, Conrad.
huh?
That is so cliche. It's always Miami.
It's always Miami, and it really blew up, and I was like, God.
Ooh,
And they
it
are
was
not
Miami.
talking to this day, and we were like childhood friends. Like we were all friends for
What?
like since we was like 8, and so it was horrible. And I still talk to everybody.
Same.
And and one of them is my absolute best friend, and they're my best friends too. Like we're, but I'm closer to one that, more than the other. And what I do is I was like, and they ask about each other because I know they miss each other. So I just be like, well, such and such, you have her number, you should call her. But I try to stay out of it. Like when one is wanting to talk about it, I'm not talking about her, and vice versa. Even though one of them is my actual best friend, I tell her everything. I just keep that part of that friendship away from her because I don't want to cause more dissension. I think everybody's points are valid. I'm not, I'm just going to take a neutral stance in it because it wasn't me, and I don't have a problem, and I don't have a problem with either one of you are specifically doing. I might not agree with how you're doing it, but I don't have a problem with either one of you doing it, and you both are doing it to each other. So it's not no one's being like beat up on the other or whatever. Y'all both are mutually combating each other. So I'm just going to stay out of it, and I don't mix information. When person A wants to talk about person C, I don't want to talk about it. For person C want to talk about A, I don't want to talk about it. And if we're not planning something together, then we don't need to be talking about all of this together. And if I'm gonna go on a trip with person C over here, I don't can't talk to you about the trip. I tell you I'm going on the trip so you know where I'm going, but no, we had a good time, and that's what that is. But I'm not going to be a breeding ground for gossip for people that I care about, and that's just something I'm not going to do. Everybody can accept that or not accept that, but I'm not going to do that because for me, it is not. I believe I'm an integral person. I can't do that. I care about you both, and y'all don't have to like each other, and that's fine. Both has both of y'all rights, and if you don't like each other, that's fine.
Yes, and actually, a Conrad quote that I picked up today was like, "Allow me to navigate my friendships with people on my own."
Right.
Because I have actually, I don't want to say I lost a friend, but we took a break
Mm-hmm.
because I had a friend who had an ex, right? And she thought that one of my other friends was dating said ex. So she came to me in shambles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I know the friend is super doopity private. They don't know each other. They don't owe each other any loyalty, by the way.
Okay.
And that person and their ex had been separated for maybe 3 to 4 years, right? So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, the friend with the ex is like, "Yo, oh girl don't like me. Like she always giving me dirty looks." But I had put together a mutual outing where they interacted with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, didn't know that my other friend might have been dating her ex, right? So one day
So
she
you didn't
reaches
know
out.
that part. You didn't know that part. You
No, because she's
oh,
super
oh
duper
what? I mean, I'm
super
pretty sure
duper.
you didn't know it. Yeah.
She's very private. Like she don't want us to know who her man is until they are locked in, and I get
Okay.
it.
I get it.
I get it because these social circles are real small and men are far in between.
Okay.
So she's like, I think she's dating my ex. She don't like me. Da, da, da. I'm like, girly. I'm like, first of all, who told you her business?
Right.
Because I'm like, who told you her business? Because how you know? And then also, I'm like, dang, I need to be mindful of my friend's privacy, but also be mindful of her feelings, right?
Right.
And in the moment, she didn't really get it. Like she wanted me to comfort her, but also I wanted her to move on. To be
Mm.
honest, come to find out, Conrad, not only was she dating her ex, she also did, in fact, want to rub it in to hurt her feelings.
Oh no, that's not cool. She can't be invited to the party anymore.
I
It's
look,
one thing for it to
okay,
be an honest mistake, or not a mistake, but oversight. I didn't know that was your ex, and you
but they're
didn't
not
know.
friends. They're not friends.
Yeah, so that's fine. But the fact that now you know that's why with your man, that's not crazy. That's crazy.
She did. She did.
That's
She
wow.
did say that.
She probably would. She probably would have been slapped by mistake. Like what do you mean?
But that's her ex from years ago. So it's kind of like, that's why I'm kind of like, girly, mind you. I'm like, girl,
That's she still got feelings though. That's what that means.
that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
and with women, like when you see what your ex likes, and
Hmm.
you can see that person physically, that'll drive you mad sometimes.
Hmm. Especially if you still have feelings, and and especially if that was that ex that made her level up, that means he broke her heart and she done changed her whole life. And you see who he would, and it's not what you
Hmm.
expecting or whatever. That's a gut punch.
It was so hard for me. It was so hard for me. And when you said like allow me to navigate my friendships, because sometimes, like I said, like when you're in a friend group, it's easy for people to want to assist you with navigating
Right.
like personal things. You know what I mean? But in that scenario, I'm just kind of like,
I mean, you didn't do
I don't
anything wrong,
think
but it's
I
like,
do feel kind of bad because she said she was. She said she was giving. She said she was moving funny, but I didn't peep it. So I'm like, girl, like you got to kind of relax, like chill, like
yeah.
don't make this the center of your being. But I feel like I felt slightly like I was a bad friend.
No, you weren't a bad friend because you didn't know. I mean, you didn't know, so you can't be a bad friend if you didn't know. I mean, you might not have got all the cues, but that still doesn't mean that you're a bad friend.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I love that. I love that. So we're gonna close out our conversation. I did want to talk about friendships, navigating friend groups, and just how to have clear, like how to be a good friend to everybody, but also like setting boundaries when some of your friends don't get along, and you're the middle person, and you you got to kind of figure that out.
And you know what? You also got to realize I'm the person who's not going to choose sides. And
Yeah.
if one of those people want me to choose a side, and their hard stop is I can't be your friend because you're this person's friend, then you just have to. It's hurtful, and
Yeah.
I mean sometimes I don't understand it, but respect that other person because I'm a respectful person in that sense, and it's okay that you don't want to whatever your morals and values are telling you, and I'm not a trustworthy friend, or just but I'm guilty by association type thing. That's fine, and I'm not going to argue with it, and I'm not going to fight with it. It just is what it is.
Amen. Amen. So to close out our show today, I'm gonna shift back to the financial literacy
Hmm.
portion of our conversation, and I do have a question for you. Um, you already talked about trust. What other things do you have in place to pass down your wealth that were not afforded to you, if any?
Um, the trust, like having it, like estate planning. Just, I mean, you need to go to an estate planning lawyer
Yeah.
to see how you need to put things, and they'll tell you what's best for what you have. Uh, you have land in some things, you have like fiduciary funds in another. Like it's a different thing. Different things need to go in different places, and you need help for that. So you do need to get you an attorney. So and they can lay it out, especially stocks and bonds. You can use
Ooh, yes, that's
um, yeah,
investment.
yeah, the investments are big things that you can do. Like I use John Edwards is for my financial investments, and they help with like all of my estate planning and things like that. They help with my trust, all of that stuff. So that's who
Period.
you guys can use. Merrill Lynch is pretty good too. I used to work for them, so that's why I didn't go there.
Period. And I do want to let the chat know, just for the basics, most banks provide free financial advising. Check your local bank, whatever bank that you
Hmm.
bank with, they provide free will and trust services as well.
Manifest at one point, she was talking about her credit unions. That is also a great resources. If you have credit unions in your area, that's a great way. They will take care of it all too. So that's a really, if you have access to a credit union, and get your kids accounts at the credit union so you can build a relationship with that specific bank. Had a relationship with the bank that I use now, so that's why I use them. But yes, if you have a credit union, that's a great way to build relationships when it comes to finances. And your banker will even give you tips and tools to help you, grow your wealth. So that's a great relationship to forge.
Amazing. So yes, try your local bank, credit union if you want to set up a will, if you want to look into trust. Also, if you want some financial advising, I just
Mhm.
I have a financial advisor on retainer,
Mm-hmm.
because I do have certain things that I need to stay on top of, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like staying on top of them. So I can just literally
Make
dump.
sure you get some Roth IRAs. All those kind of things are important, especially at your age. You're young, and
No,
by the
it's
time it's time for us, even me, to retire, it's not going to be much for us to do. So we're going to be retiring off of our own wherewithal. So you can go ahead and set those things up now, and it takes little to nothing out of just throwing something in there, and you can see it grow. So it's worth it. High yield savings accounts are huge, especially if you have children. If you also have children and you have your own business, put your children on payroll. My baby's 4, he gets a check. So like you gotta do things like that.
ooh, yes. So yes. So okay, so you put what? So one way you can pass down your wealth is you can use your child on payroll to build them
Mhm.
a backing. Beyonce did
So
that with
so by the time they're 18, they'll have a credit score, they'll have all of those things. They'll have money and everything. So when it's time for them to really jump out there, they'll be able to do it. I don't think we were afforded those type of things in that sense. Cause I ain't never was on nobody's payroll when I was a kid, except when I really worked. So,
yeah.
but no, but my banker told me to do that. So I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, he gets 1099 and everything. So pays taxes.
And
Oh no.
this formal informational only, but please utilize the resources recommended. Please find your local banker, financial advisors that are probably free to access in your
Hmm.
local bank, and have these conversations with them. What Conrad is doing is providing you with at least the basis of questions that you can ask so you can tap in to those resources. I myself am a life insurance junkie.
Hmm.
I
Oh yeah.
my family is going to be very, very well off if
Yeah.
something happens to your girl, okay?
Right.
And not only that, if I need something, I got it off my
Yeah.
cash value.
Yep. Because get you some whole life policies. Those are a great way to invest in yourself technically. Because yes, you do have some cash value. It's easy to go and snatch and get if you need it.
Accident
Um.
insurance.
Yep.
I,
Yeah.
I I stepped on something and I went to the urgent care. That was a
Hmm.
cool couple of $100.
Yeah, and it just comes right out. So, and I mean, it is really important for us as Black people to have to figure out what works for us. Work on your credit. Credit is important too. Like, I know we were taught at one point that credit wasn't that important, but it really is. File that bankruptcy. It's okay if you need it. File it, learn from it, and you can get yourself set back up. It's okay to do it. It's not a death sentence. If your things get overwhelmed and you have like credit card debt, things like that, file for bankruptcy. And a lot of times, if you work for a corporation of some sort, they might give you that bankruptcy for free. You don't even have to pay for it. They will restructure your bills and everything for you. If you are drowning in debt, you need to address it, because your life will be much better and much more fruitful if you have access to credit.
Amen.
And I mean, it's really easy. You can use and then have credit cards with perks. Don't just be getting credit cards just because of a credit card. Get your credit card with miles. Get your credit card with hotel points. And it's important to get all those things. And you can use those things on the things that for luxury. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not paying for no flight. I'm gonna use my points.
your
I'm
points.
not paying for the room. I'm gonna use my points. I don't pay to go in the lounge. I gotta go in the lounge, but I use my points.
Oh, that was my latest life upgrade. I am now utilizing those airport lounges. They're
Oh,
like
aren't they amazing?
$80. They're like 80 if you don't want to, and for the year it's like $200 a year. I like the
Yeah.
American Airlines, but
Well, yeah, that's where I go. I'm American.
yeah, it's $80 a day for the
Hmm.
day pass where it's showers, place to sleep, food, bar, all the
Hmm.
things.
If
$8.
you
Like
get the
if you want
executive card, I think the yearly fee on it is $8.95, but it includes the lounges for free, your lounge access, unlimited lounge access for free, and you get 10 points on a dollar. So I mean,
And
And that's
guess
for any purchase. So like all of those things, you're basically giving yourself money to pay your regular things.
Ooh,
So and you using it for yourself. I don't ever get a credit card that doesn't have any type of perk. That is the craziest and weirdest thing ever. It has to if you're gonna get a credit card, if you're gonna get in a debt over something, make sure it benefits you in some way. Please.
these interest rates are disgusting.
But it is what it is. Life.
Wait, yes, thank you so much. I feel like there was so much in this one conversation. Oh, yes, I did have a request. Do you have any socials that you would like to share with the chat?
Instagram. What's a Finsta? So it's the Big Daddy Conrad and it's TOO at the end. So Big Daddy Conrad and then TOO at the end. And that's my Insta. It's an open page. Now the other one it ain't open, so you know they need the right one.
Okay, and if y'all find that one, you was digging a little too deep, and there might be some ramifications around that. So please do not try to be invasive with any of the things discussed today, whether it's professional background, school background. We are not giving you any consent to inquire beyond what was just shared, which is Conrad's Instagram that she is comfortable with you guys utilizing to access. I will also have, if you would like, Conrad, for you to make a list of your personal favorite resources. Mine, as I mentioned, is life insurance. I do love the
Mm-hmm.
airport lounges. Usually you get there like 3 to 4 hours early if you like free food, free drinks, free whatever you want. You don't got to be out there with the
Showers,
regular
because especially if you fly in a
hours.
DFW, if you do like any type of international flight, showers. I make sure if I do an international flight, I go a couple hours early so I can get ready. So when I get on the plane, I can go ahead and go to sleep, especially if it's international or something. So
But I thank you. I do want to do like an after show. So I am going to do an after show, you guys, so I can
okay.
get your guys' feedback, any additional questions that you would like to submit. And this is going to be an ongoing series. It is called Big Sister Chat. It's inspired by all of my favorite people that I've met on the YouTube streets, women that I can personally look up to, whether it's for their just different things. Like as you can see, like a part of the show that is being premiered today is me utilizing personal quotes from each guest to basically ask more, deeper
Mhm.
questions for things that I want to know and that I also would like to spread out amongst my chat. So I welcome you all. This is all about financial literacy, glow up, being responsible, having a healthy work life balance, mental health advocacy, all of the adult things. We are definitely giving very much maturity on this side of the YouTube street. So very much welcome. Thank you, Conrad, so much. Do you have like an impromptu piece of advice as a big sister you would like to share? Anything in particular that you would like to share? Anything, literally anything.
I want to say I appreciate you for inviting me. I had a great time. This is very interesting. It's great to do something different other than like a lot of rigmarole. This is very calming, and I'm glad. Hopefully, people can learn some things. And I'm looking forward to the rest of your episodes and the other people that you bring. But I would just like to
Right.
say, you guys protect your health, protect your mental health, do not get too invested in this stuff. It is just that. It's the internet and it's some other things that we can be doing. Touch some grass. Because
Mm,
I think we sometimes get a little bit intertwined with this a little too much. It shouldn't, we shouldn't be having some of the outcomes that we have. Because it's not really worth it. Like I said, if it's not affecting your day to day life, then you probably shouldn't let it get to you.
absolutely
That's
not.
it.
And that's why, Conrad, that's why you look amazing.
Thank you.
That's I plan on aging exactly like that, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is 42 years old. I feel
Listen, I would be lying through the skin of my teeth and identifying as much younger than that because you look great and you can tell that you take care of
thank you.
yourself, you can tell that you rest. And I
Yeah.
love that for both of us. So, welcome to Big Sister Chat. I will keep the series going. Absolutely. I'm also going to be trying to keep myself more active on my YouTube channel. So, if you have not, please like, like and subscribe to my channel. I will definitely be pushing myself to put out more content. And again, there will be an after show. I'm gonna aim for maybe 9:25, so I can just refresh myself, get a little drink, a little more lip gloss, and come back. Maybe we can go through some of the comments that I saw.
Okay.
And also, it'll be an open panel if anybody wants to come up and ask questions, or if you have some other resources
Okay.
to add, please
Okay.
do. So I'm gonna shut this one down, and
Okay.
at 9:25, anybody wanting to come back, please come. It'll be an open space, and you guys can talk to she'll be here. Ask her any questions directly if you would like to. If you're open to that, Conrad,
Yeah,
no
I'm cool with
no
it.
pressure.
Yeah, my books
Okay,
are clear.
awesome. I'm out of alcohol, unfortunately. So, but feel free to bring your drinks because
Okay,
I
cool.
might be going to the store, honey. I might
Okay.
try to get to the store in 10 minutes. We
Okay.
gonna drink and we gonna drink, okay?
Okay, cool. I will be here. All right.
Yes. Later, you
Thank
guys. Thank you
you.
so much, Conrad. See you guys in a few minutes. Let's do 9:30 so I can go to the store. Let's do 9:30, y'all. See y'all later.